Today, the man convicted of running his car into Black Lives Matter protesters and shooting and killing one of them has officially been pardoned by the Texas governor after a unanimous recommendation from the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles. That's the way it works there. Sergeant Daniel Perry, who was released from prison earlier today, shortly after the government's announcement, was convicted of murder last year in the death of Black Lives Matter protester Garrett Foster. Immediately after the conviction, the governor sort of made this political by pronouncing he was working as swiftly as Texas law allows regarding the pardon of Sergeant Perry, and that Texas has one of the strongest stand your ground laws in the country and can't be nullified by a jury or progressive DA. But legally, there were real issues with his conviction. Number one, the defense was prevented from presenting evidence that the victim may have been the aggressor, including that he supposedly scared other drivers before. The defense was also prevented from showing a photo and video of Foster blocking another man's car with his girlfriend in a wheelchair. According to the defense, that witness was prepared to testify that the victim attempted to intimidate him and that he was terrified by Mr. Foster's actions, as well as the actions of Mr. Foster's fellow protesters. And the defense alleged juror misconduct. Okay. But the flip side is that video shows Perry running his car into a group of protesters, and there's no evidence, including testimony from multiple witnesses, that the victim ever raised his rifle, even though that is what Perry had claimed in his interview with police.
How high did that barrel come up? Went up probably about right there. Okay, was it aimed at you? I believe it was aimed at, I believe he was going to aim it at me.
And maybe most concerning were Facebook messages posted by Perry before the incident, including things like, "I might have to kill a few people on my way to work, and I might go to Dallas to shoot looters." Also keep in mind the defendant never took the stand during the trial, something that is certainly not legally required, but quite common in self-defense cases. Joining us now is Doug O'Connell. He is one of the attorneys representing Daniel Perry. Thank you very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. All right, so let me just start big picture. Jury convicted here. Why do you think that the governor and the Texas Board of Paroles did the right thing?
Well, they absolutely did the right thing for a number of reasons. One of the things that the Board of Pardons and Paroles was focused on when I met with them was the fact that the elected district attorney had tampered with a witness during the grand jury process. So he prohibited the lead Austin police detective from testifying and presenting exculpatory evidence to the grand jury. So it's one thing, as you know, Dan, a prosecutor doesn't have to present exculpatory evidence, but it's an entirely different matter when the prosecutors prohibit or tamper with a witness before the grand jury.
This is what that district attorney, Jose Garza, said today on the Texas Board of Pardon and Parole's recommendation. They have sent a message to Garrett Foster's family, to his partner, and to our community that his life does not matter. They have sent the message at the service of the Travis County community members who served on the grand jury and trial jury do not matter. To the family and friends of Garrett Foster and to the people of Travis County, we will not stop fighting for justice. What does that mean, that they're not going to stop fighting for justice on this?
It's ironic that he would say that, because over the past year, that district attorney, Jose Garza, has conspired with the Innocence Project to get a reversal on a conviction for murder that a Travis County jury handed down. So on one hand, he's criticizing the governor for using the governor using his constitutional authority, but he's doing the exact same thing. It's purely political when it comes to this prosecutor.
What do you, the text messages, I think, to the court of public opinion, right? The people who haven't seen the trial, didn't watch the evidence, didn't read your motions, by the way, after the verdict, et cetera. Those text messages sound really bad.
Sure. But, it's the kind of deal where I tell my kids, be careful what you post or what you text, because that'll last forever. In Daniel Perry's case, those posts, those texts came back and ended up convicting him of murder. So he was convicted based on thought crimes, not actually what he did.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.